Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Awesome TCG Discussions coming at you. I'm going to adjust this with a Banlist Discussion video today. Oh, man. This is going to be probably the toughest one yet. So, if you guys remember, a couple months back, I know some people asked me to, like, hey, will you still upload the videos? I made a Banlist Discussion, and I ended up not publishing it because once the stuff came out, I was kind of like a little late, and I just don't really see the point in publishing it after the ban list has already come out for it. And even though my stuff was like super in depth, I was still kind of like on the money with a lot of cards that would be problems. And so this ban list is, with what I have on it, is just mainly going to deal with what I think are the problem color like cards in each color besides like black, because black needs like a lot of support right now. It's like really struggling in the meta. Like there's not even a bone in the fight right now for black. And it's very serious black. You know, seriously, black does need help though. All that to say, this is going to be a pretty easy list. I think in general, like when we just look at like key cards for like the top three, and then getting into green's a little bit weird, and again, black is fine. So the first thing that I think is everyone's taking a look at is red, right? You know, because Sin and Gogeta. And then on top of that, then we're going to, take a look at all the support cards it got. So obviously the red unison's really strong. I think against blue it's an inherent weak point to target for blue's attacks. But I'll be chopping a lot off of blue here very shortly, so don't worry about that. But the main cards that everyone's looking at are the Gogeta Unison, which I think is going nowhere fast from 4. I think it's going to stay there. I don't see them giving red a powerful Unison just to turn around and destroy it literally the next set, because I don't think that card's that oppressive. The card that I do think is oppressive that gets played for free off of it, however, is Brawly Crown of Retribution. That card needs, in my opinion, to be banned effective immediately. There are so many reasons why that card is not okay. The first is the frequency and the complete and utter lack of cost in which it's played because of the unison. The second is that you can resolve multiples in the same turn, just effectively killing multiple super combos, making your kill turns in decks like Sin Shenron very, very easy to plot out. Number 3 is just the absurdity of, like, you know, the ability to plot out your kill against your opponent or combo structure against your opponent, or realize how screwed you are so you won't walk into certain things. And that all comes with that card. I mean, the rip effect on Crown, while, you know, obviously not limited as much on the Vegito, is an SCR level effect effectively, right? It is an overwhelm card played for free that gets to look at your opponent's hand and rip a card from it, while Brawly Crown, multiples per game, are played from free, looking at your opponent's hand and ripping a card. Now, of course, it's not beating your leader 10k and, you know, simultaneously, you know, swinging for 40k quad strike. It is, however, a free combo card that also in Gogeta initiates a top 3 search of the deck. So we're not really too far off with those apples and oranges. We're just off 5k and, you know, another search, which could be the SCR. So yeah, either way, I think Crown needs to go. And honestly, I really don't think red really needs much more done. I think if you had to talk about the next problem card for red, it's Violent Rays. But we don't need to touch Violent Rays. I think Violent Rays is fine where it's at. A lot of people want something done about Gogeta. I've got some news for you. Gogeta has not been a relevant like character in this game ever. And I don't care how oppressive turn 4 feels. I don't care how dumb the Z Leader Evolve is. We need a solid king deck in the game, and I think that deck deserves it. I think if you're going to talk about hitting it, it is not the top end, it's the lower end. It's the cards that just draw you card after card after card after search. And I think that's what needs to be addressed. And so, when we're talking about what to do in the game next, I think that, like, if we're going to address Gogeta, it needs to be that. But I don't think you can do that and leave Sin Shenron anywhere near where it's at, because that's just inviting disaster. Moving on from Red, I think that we need to talk about the first thing that needs to be banned, and that's SS3 Reboot Goku. Sorry, Brandon. Sorry to all my SS3 players. Sorry to everybody out there who enjoys that deck. I think there's multiple reasons, mainly two, that we should ban this leader. The first and most obvious reason is that it is inherently stupid to tap 6 for a card and get 3 back, 4 back, 5 back at the end of the turn to be able to defend yourself. No Brawly Crown of Retribution is doing enough against that anyway. And to tell you how dumb that is, SS3 Reboot has so many pieces that can untap energy by the end of its turn that can be played in very easy succession. By turn 6, all the cards that will be on the board can have it. Either a barrier or a unison. They have multiple guard effects. They have multiple bounce effects. They have multiple hand destruction effects and or board wipe effects. And to make all of that worse, okay, and this is all done by like turn 4, 5, and 6. To make all that worse, you're going to untap 5 and literally be able to play a Golden Ape to respond to anything that your opponent is doing for the turn. I think that is heinous. I think that is disgusting. I think that every leader that has untapped 1 energy at the end of the turn is like, why would you play anything revolving around a strategy that requires you to devote any kind of, energy or resource or deck space to ramping, when you can just get it out of this leader at the cost of having a small hand, but eventually when you get to 6, you'll play Rise of the Super Warrior and draw 4 cards every turn on top of your Boo Unison and Leader Swing, so that's 6. And then, if they're not playing blue to God Sealing you, then you're fine. And if they are, then you may not tap 6 for that at that time. So it's just one of those things where it's like, this is just absolutely wrong, right? Like it shouldn't happen this way. The other problem is that SS3 can play every top-end blue boss monster that is good in the game at all, except for like Kale. That's like the only thing that I think that SS3 cannot play well at all is Kale. And it can do all that, right? And do all of it. And, all these things have like barrier, they all have blocker, they all have like triple strike. I mean, for Christ's sakes, even their negates have triple strike, deflect, barrier on them. It's just ridiculous, okay? If I was glad that Brawly Crown of Retribution existed for any reason, it's because blue exists, okay? Like, we need checks like that in the game. We just do. Now, I'm not sure if Brawler Crown was a 2 cost, if that would, make it better as an errata, but I'm not getting into that. The point is that, all in all, overall, this leader, among all the other blue leaders, it needs to be banned. There's no downside to this other than your small hand size in the beginning, which can be clearly mitigated by playing off-color yellow cards. Thank you, Mikhail, the Core TCG Regional, for showing us so profoundly how to defeat Red Sin Shenron while just watching their hand size dwindle to nothing while you just continuously jump boss monster after boss monster after boss monster after boss monster every turn, only to seal the door slowly and tightly shut over your opponent's neck to strangle them out for the win. And that is basically how that game went. And then game 3 was probably the most obvious slow play shuffling I've ever seen. We won't say anything about that though. And mixed with, albeit a lot of skillful play. So I won't say too much to that. But yeah, I don't think it should take like 4 or 5 minutes for you guys to decide, let alone, 10, 20, 30 seconds to shuffle each time, cut it 3 times and shuffle again. Seems a little weird. But either way, moving on to the next blue card, Boonison. I am so, I'm so iffy about this. I don't want to hit this and then just leave blue unisonless, right? Because that's what red felt like until they got baby juvenile parasite, and now baby feels irrelevant. And we're like, what? Hello? Baby? Juvenile parasite? 20k, draw a card, take a card. Mini Bean on your opponent's turn. Can I interest you in that? Oh, 3 energy is too much? Oh, the game's too fast for 3 energy? Oh, okay. Yeah, that's pretty much what we want with that. And then, you know, even though it's like 4, blue can ramp. So it doesn't feel as bad. And simultaneously, it's like I'm trying to nerf like the best ramp strategy in the game. But I think there are other ramp strategies that can play it well, like 16 or, you know, the blue, the new blue coup can play it pretty well. But it does like other things on its earlier turns to build up to that naturally, right? Unless like they get to like 5 life and start Zonal Super Combo, and then it's like, you're probably gonna get this a little bit faster, Trunks and so on. So I think they should all have access to this unison. But that being said, it is oppressive, right? This unison is that stupid. It shouldn't have a blocker and bottom deck effect, and it shouldn't have a +0 draw 1 card and untap a free energy. Like, it should be one of those effects, and you don't get the other on your next turn or not, right? And still be a blocker. So, I don't know. I go back and forth. I personally would probably just like to see Boo stay for another format, if I'm honest with you, because, like, I just don't want to kill blue that hard. And so I'm probably going to murder with what's coming next, okay? All of Blue's floodgates need to go take a straight hike to the trash can. We're going to start with Vegeta Ready to Rumble. And I think this is a likely card to get banned, okay? I seriously think that this is likely. Here's why. If you hit Crown of Retribution, okay, and let's say for some reason they don't touch SS3, there's no way they can let Vegeta live. Okay? Red doesn't have anything that can hit it. Green doesn't have anything that does well against it besides like preemptive strike or some other hot nonsense. Black doesn't have anything good against it. And, you know, blue's got some stuff against it, but I mean, it's the mirror match. It's going to be grindy like that anyway, which we're going to be using God Ceilings, which is going to get countered with something else because, you know, whatever. And as for yellow really doesn't have much against it either. And the problem is that Vegeta Ready Rumble just effectively ends the turn. It is 4 energy for Baby Hatchiyak. That is literally how it is. Nobody is trying to sacrifice their energy on kill swings when that blocker's up and Boonison's up and Boonison still has its effect. Like, people just don't get it. It's about when it's played. If I tap 4 for Boo Unison and then I activated Boo Unison effect, and then I untap 3, and on the start of your turn, untap my Boonison and an energy, okay? And you swing and I play Ready to Rumble, you're not sacking 3 out of the 5 energy or 4 energy you may have to do that. To even attempt to do damage. And if there's no point of attempting to do damage, what's the point of attacking? Right? Unless you could kill everything on the board and then simultaneously swing lethal, there's no point in sacking the energy. And the problem is that is the exact problem that card puts us in every single time it's played. You could even remove the Boonison, okay? And you'd still say you're sacking 2 energy at least in order to do any type of damage. And that is not okay. It's just not. That card needs to be banned. Most colors cannot play under it. Most colors choose not to play under it, and it is ridiculous to ask them to play under it under any circumstance whatsoever. Okay, even if you kill SS3, SS4 Vegeta still exists. Trunks still exists, which it's a little bit worse now, but I mean, it can be mitigated and hopefully get a little bit better. Blue Coup still exists, and Baby, all right, Baby, the leader, you know, the Tuffle thing, the thing that like searches multiple counters and draws like a lot of cards, like 3 cards per turn. Yeah, that card still exists, and we would be much better off if it did not exist in the game. Period. Okay, so let's get rid of Vegeta Ready to Rumble. Oh, this next card, it's kind of tough. Does Golden Avenger need to be like hit? Like, maybe reduced to 1? Maybe? I don't know. Here's my thing. it's kind of just too good. Okay, like, it's really strong against, like, everything that the game wants to do right now. Okay, so, like, hear me out. We've got Z battle cards getting ignoring barrier removed. We've got SCRs getting removed from the game. We've got, I mean, when your Z battle cards get counterplayed, they kind of just get removed from the game. And then it bounces something else and draws a card, and it's like, 30k triple strike. It's kind of good. And then there's like Hatch with that card behind it. It just feels wrong, right? It feels like you've done something criminal to your opponent, right? Like you woke up in the middle of the night and you just, decided that I think I'm going to just make my neighbor's day hell tomorrow, right? Like I'm just going to go antagonize them for like 5 or 6 turns in a game. And then I'm going to absolutely tell them no. And then in the process of them attempting to stop me from, antagonizing them and telling them no, I'm going to tell their no again and then continue to antagonize and destroy them. That is basically what that card does every single time it's played. And I'm not sure it should exist in the game. All right, I'm going to get to this when I get to cooler here in a second. But yeah, I think that it's time that it goes. And honestly, like this is gonna bring me back to something. I think Vegeta Resolve Renewed needs to be banned as well. It's because like Red just doesn't deserve to have a card that says place in the drop area that's like not Denial of Hope or something like that, or Omen of Awakening. While just, getting one red energy to do that, and it be a saying, and it be a combo piece, and it be, like a future Patora fusion for set 2 Vegito. It just doesn't need all of that. And I simultaneously think that, like, that's one of the problems with, like, some of the floodgates in the game, like, not being played well. Like, Heroic Prospect, the Boo, like, anything that is black whatsoever. Red having Resolve Renewed behind it is kind of problematic, and I'm kind of like, sad to say that I didn't think about this earlier, but like Resolve Renewed should probably be banned. It's just because Red, on top of being like the most aggressive archetype, does not deserve a 1 energy card that effectively tells most floodgates in the game that would cause you to check yourself at the door. To be just dropped straight in the drop area in its place, while simultaneously generating whatever ungodly dumb advantage that it does for, Gogeta or Sin Shenron, which doesn't really generate advantage for Sin Shenron. It just, it's an extra 5k. It's going to be slapped on a 35, 40k now triple strike critical that, they played on like turn 2 or 3. So enjoy yourself. But the bottom line is that like, when we talk about, counters, I think they all kind of need to be banned because, like, while that could just, like, put us, like, in a floodgate meta, I think if we touch the most oppressive floodgates, we're going to be fine. Like, if people are leaving 2 red energy up to play Topo, it's fine. And it's not like there aren't other answers to that anyway. It's just that, like, I don't know, like, having, like, Resolve Renewed just be around to just effectively like thorn in the side like your attempted efforts to like survive against like incredibly strong boss cards. Like, for example, if your opponent missed sequencing attacks, right, again, like playing SS4 Gogeta, and they swung with their leader first for some dumb reason, and you punished it with like Heroic Prospect Trunks as a blue player, right? Now you're not getting board wiped, okay? You're not getting board wiped before that triple strike comes at you. And now every time, if they want to board wipe you, they're going to have to bottom deck multiple cards to do so. So I think that, like, that's the way that it should be, right? Like, these floodgate cards should be checks, as long as they're not ending to oppressive end-game patterns for certain colors. So what I mean by that is, like, Fu Shrouded in Mystery followed up by turning the tide next turn. That might not be a route that we want to try and take the game. But Fu Shrouded in Mystery is banned. Turning the tide needs to be banned, as I'm going to talk about here in a second in this video. And yeah, we'll be pretty fine. we're going to do an honorable shout out before we get to Turning the Tide. A lot of people are talking about Super Warrior, the SS4 Vegeta. Get off my boy. He does not deserve to be hit. He is a tap 6, okay, God sealingable card. If you God sealing that card, playing against blue, it feels awful. If you play against green, they're still going to be able to pop it. If you play against red, yeah, they're not going to probably be able to minus it, and you're probably going to generate a lot of advantage. But that's the problem with this card. It is a tap 6 card that basically says draw 4, which is cool, right? If you tapped 6 energy and said draw 4, I'm fine with that. But if you tapped, for example, 2 energy and untapped 10 afterwards, it might be kind of problematic if, Turning the Tide exists. You see where I'm going with this, and that's one of the reasons why Brian Samuel was so successful in the core TCG regional. He called it the Holy Trinity, and I do quite agree that the new Kaioken Goku coupled with Super Warrior is extremely problematic, and here's why. If that card resolves, it's not just Turning the Tide, okay? Tragedy Overground is a card that is oppressive beyond all reason, and is not something that should be considered by anybody to have to play through at any point in the game. It is another card that would immediately need to be banned on top of Turning the Tide. I see no reason to keep either of these cards in the game. They are just oppressive beyond all doubts. I know 17 is the MVP, but he's got to go in my book. He's just got to go. Moving on, and this is like the last card that I think I'm going to talk about of being actually touched, versus then one honorable mention afterwards. And it is something that I think that we should start considering, because I'm going to be honest with you. Well, I guess I'll get to it in a second. The last one is the Gohan card for blue that is like 3 energy, like Servant, that whole 9 yards. Banned. It needs to be banned. It's too low cost of an oppressive card like that in a color that ramps as much as it does. And even if you're not playing ramp strategies, a lot of other deck cores have that are blue have like a reduced cost card that basically does the same thing. And then here's the thing, like Gamma is limited to only its little Android card, which, by the way, red is solo murdering like Gamma from the meta because of Crown coupled with the Vegeta Resolve Renewed. It's just ridiculous. So I think that they both just need to take a swift exit for Gamma to have any hope of playing in the meta. And I think Gamma's a relatively fair, good blue deck. Yet another card, another deck that I want Bunos around for. But either way, point being is that, Gohan, that minion T-pose half look at me now kind of guy, I think he just needs to go. Blue just doesn't need this many kind of floodgates. Blue has way too many oppressive defensive options before you start even talking about floodgates, okay? Most people are here struggling with Violent Rays. We have Heroic Prospect, right? Which only gets reduced energy cost when having Unison. So there's an extra condition on top of it, and to top it off, it's not as strong because it's on above curve energy attacks. Okay, so that's the first thing. It's got Baby's Minion. It's got the Vegeta Ready to Rumble. It's got the Goku that's triple strike deflect barrier that says you're not damaging the leader with battle cards anymore. I mean, come on. Then it's also got D-Magic Bean in UI Kamehameha, which on your opponent's turn is untapping an energy for you, by the way. It's unreal. And then not to mention all the blockers and untap energy effects that it has with the stuff. It's just oppressive play pattern after oppressive play pattern after oppressive play pattern. And I think both these cards just need to take a swift exit and a hike down the drain. Yeah, so shouts to the honorable mention for blue, and then we will move on to yellow, and that is Beerus. Realm of God Beerus, Beerus Destroys, I think is what it's called. Here's the thing. Now, a lot of people are don't you touch my Beerus Destroys. Stop it. What are you doing? Don't talk about the card. No. I said no. No, I'm putting my foot down. Not this time. No. Okay, but the reason why they might actually end up touching that card is they did not think about the design space of bottom decking a 2 or less with a Z deck. They didn't. So if the card is inherent to a strategy and it doesn't have barrier printed on it, and it's 2 or less as a Z card, it's useless. Like, blue will at some point for 1 energy while drawing a card and defending themselves rip away your key strategy. Unless like you play it and then like it cycles itself up immediately in the turn, which I just don't see happening. I just don't see it working out that way. So I think that it is something to look at. All the other Realm of the Gods, right? Like Black's is terrible because we don't even talk about Black. Green's is terrible. It's even probably worse off mentioned than Black, even though Black's has seen far less play. Red's is okay, but it's pretty bad right now. Blues is absolutely godlike. And yellows yellows is okay, and blues is absolutely godlike. And it goes in that order, right? Like Black Kamehameha is easily the best like utility. Then you've got the fact that like we got like straight removal for a 2 or less and draw a card and 10k. And depending on like what that is, like there are certain strategies of the game that just do not work. Okay, so like I know this isn't a great example, but like my first round in my tournament this last week was against the Bulma like heroine deck, and like literally the best cards in that deck are all like 1 or lower cost cards besides Rosie, Blast Manipulator. And I cannot tell you how bad it probably felt watching Kakunsa just get bottom of the deck when it's like one of its main double strike pieces. And like the 2 drops that he'd cast or something else, right? Like it just doesn't feel fair. And the problem is with like literally like Z battle cards, like to make them effective and good, they have to be low cost. Otherwise, if they're high cost, like Vegito, like they better have like every broken effect, like deflect, triple strike, barrier, blocker, got it. Bottom decker card, got it. Like that's how that works. And so like when we like, they either have to be that top end heavy to be good, or on the low end they can't be like good and that, right? And like you said, oh well, Beerus destroys like checks like Vegito, which is good until they just like turn barrier on with the card regardless, right? So feels weird. But bottom line is that like it's too oppressive to the low end of the Z mechanic, and I definitely see them possibly doing something to that. It's not like, you know, it was like, well, what about counterplay Frieza? Well, what about this? What about these other effects? They might do the same thing. You know, you might want to think about that before you start just talking about my Beerus destroys. Yeah, you know, I thought about that, but it's not ran as 4 as an extra card in literally like every deck right now. Okay, and there's a reason that it is. Okay, and like before you even like think about like, you know, arguing about it, ask yourself like literally what is the best one against the Z mechanic? Like look at all of them. You're really not going to find one that even remotely comes close than that one. And here's the other problem. It's in blue. Right? Like it's not just that card. It's that card next to a Senzu Bean. Okay? Like actually that's how my last round opponent lost, is because of Senzu Bean and me drawing Beerus destroys into Beerus destroys into Beerus destroys after I demagicked for the turn. So like I demagicked, he didn't cooler me. Went to do it again, this time he coolered me. I'm like, you did have it. You slime by the truck of you did have it. And then, when he comboed up to 50k, I beamed, putting me at like 20. And then I Beerus destroyed. And I played another Beerus destroy, which threw me into another Beerus destroy. That was 50. It was 50 real quick. Draw cards. And I bombed out like 2 of his cards. Felt kind of good. Bottom line being, might need to be hit. Might be, but I doubt it. I think it's fine, but I doubt it. All right, moving on to yellow. Swift Retaliation Cooler needs to be banned. Poutine needs to be banned. I want to say Slug, but you can't really now. Like, if you took Slug away from the new Slug archetype, that might feel kind of bad. Poutine. and Cooler. They both need to be banned. I'm sorry. They just both need to go. A lot of people don't like an Absolute Annihilation. I get it. It's still top 3. Stop. If it's not that card, it's going to be the other one. Also, for the Poutine replacement, it would also encourage you to play, the Goku. It's not free. And because we have, an alternative that costs more, Poutine can, now go jump in a lake. Yeah. That's kind of, where I see that. I think that, that's it. Both those cards are extremely self-explanatory, by the way. Yeah, I don't see anything in yellow that's overly impressive. Release from Evil's fair. I think that we should just have that nice stopper for it. Yeah. And then moving on to green. I'm really struggling to think of anything for green that really needs to be hit. I don't think anything in green's too oppressive in generating a play pattern that's repetitive, and green kind of sucks, so it's always sucked too. It's not just it's a little sucky. I mean it really sucks. So I don't know. I'm kind of 50-50 in the air about raising my hands in the air I just don't care. A lot of people wanted the Vegito Unison band. That's not it, fam. I don't think you can do that. Sorry I'm doing this so off the cuff, guys. I mean, I thought about Dormant at first. I'll be honest, I have thought about Dormant, but Dormant is in such a terrible place right now. It might be time for Dormant to go, though, because I will say, while it would drastically hurt every other green strategy, it would intensely promote the new strategies, given the kind of Dormant-ish effects that they have. And so I could see that, but again, I don't think so. Oh, I know a card that doesn't need to be banned. Rebrand. Yeah, I can't believe I didn't think about that card. Rebrand needs to be banned. I love Dredge Coup, but I want no part in that card deck becoming a consistent thing with multiple ward wipes ignoring barrier. Okay? I just don't. I just really don't want to see that become a thing again. And Rebrand is just one of the most oppressive play pattern cards I've ever seen in this game. I mean, it was annoying when Cell Search did it. It's annoying when green, Draw 6 Brawly does it. It's been annoying in regular green Brawly. It's annoying in every single green deck that can play it. And we have Zamasu, right, for green. That is a 5-drop card that goes over Charismatic, that is indestructible, pitch a card, and it is still not nearly as oppressive as the hot garbage, essence that is the, self-proclaimed beautiful Rebrand. Okay, it's just horrifying. That it just needs to be banned. I just hate that card to no end. It's not like that card is ripped my SCR and I'm salty. It's not that. It's just that every single time green gets an oppressive hand loop strategy going, that card is sitting at the bottom foundation of, moving around her meaty little fingers to scroll over the map room board to figure out how to plot the next point of ripping 2 more cards out of your opponent's hand. I just absolutely hate that card and think that it needs to be banned. Moving on to black. If you think that anything in black needs to be banned, you're a terrible human being when it comes to wanting what's fair for this game. You're probably a really great person on the inside at somewhere, but certainly it is not about black's, fair happenstance in this game, because black has been shafted both out of aggression, but I mean, honestly, if you look at what red got in this last set and you look at what black got in this last set, what was that? Drop the ball. what do our Z battle cards even do? Turns out that the best black Z battle card in the game helps every other color be much better than we are. And to make it worse, what Overrealm, Debura, Demigra? Is that what it is? I don't know what that thing is, but no. It's not cutting it, fam. We're gonna need to have something a little different than something that interacts with this dang near here Overrealm, because it ain't working out. We're losing, right? They have Vegeta and SS4, Oolong, Goku, Dual Attack Trunks, Vegito, Cell, Goku Swing Crit Guy, whatever. Hell, even Green's got Frieza and Piccolo when it's relevant. But we out here with Black with Demigra and the Vegeta that everyone else plays better. Okay, Bandai. And to anyone else who thought that Black needs anything banned that's not like Poutine, you're wrong. So, I mean, yeah. I all funniness and joking aside, I do think that Black is in no position to be judged harshly in receiving anything. If anything, thwarting the Dark Empire needs to come back to 4. That's probably going to be the worst take that you hear on any of my bans lists, period. But honestly, you want to put Black back on the map in some way, give us the King card back. Because of the fact that, we tap energy, right? Let me tell you where we went. We went from a 20k double strike for 1 energy, and then, Gogeta Zeno being draw a card. We went from that being oppressive to seeing Brawly Crowns played for free, multiple of them in a turn, no less, and whatever Sin Shenron and Gogeta does. Okay? Follow that up with all the barrier that Yellow could ever want in its entire life, and Goku and Trunks Vegeta is still a really oppressive archetype. And Blue just getting barrier card after barrier card after removal card after stall card, triple striker, that what are we even complaining about? I mean, honestly, you're out, the way the meta is right now, we are hard serving aggression in Sen Shenron with 30, 25 or 35k double strike criticals on turn 2. That's where we're at in the game. Okay? It's not great. And by turn 4, God cards that cannot be interacted with in any shape or form. And trust me when I say, you're thwarting the Dark Empire double strike is going to be welcomed to get them at 4 life to turn on Raditz super combos and add 4 more cards on top of the 20 that they already had in their hand. You just don't get it. It's also a check to unisons, right? The red unison would fall a lot faster if you had that 1 drop 25k double strike. It would get Black and Edge again, and to top it off, it would have some board control. Get that Sin Shenron up out of here. I ain't taking your crap no more. You're gone. But it's still 1 energy commitment, which is super expensive in Black because they have no good floodgates, because they have no defense, because Bandai doesn't know how to create good cards for Black. We still don't have a unison counterplay. We still don't have a unison negate or a universal flood negate that's good, that doesn't say it dies the Crown of Retribution, so it's never getting played, or it mills 4 cards, which for the record is the weakest, unless you're playing a mill strategy to start, of any counter in the game. I'm sorry, right? But most decks right now are sitting at about 60 cards. If they know they can kill you, or just minus that thing, blow up the blocker, and swing with something that's going to kill you, they're going to do it. And there's nothing you're going to be able to do. It's just how it's going to go. Nobody cares. Like honestly, like nobody cares. Like I can easily plot out a turn where Sen Shenron has a Triple Striker on board, right? They want to swing. You play down that card. Oceanus. Like, stopped you. They're like, Sen Shenron leader effect. Pop my little Shadow Dragon. Pop your Oceanus. Nova comes back, draws a card. Might have the turns have tabled, right? Play 2. Omega Shenron. Okay. Go to swing with Red Destroyer. Because you probably have one on the board. I mean, there's enough energy to do that. Turn, you're on 3, like, what is it, 3? 3 energy, you can do both. Why not? Why not? Swing with Red Destroyer. Go ahead, gonna activate that, good copy Support of the Dark Empire. Activate Red Destroyer effect. Minus my Omega Shenron, which buffs at 5 now. It's now 35k Triple Strike. Pop your token. Swing 35k Triple Strike. Yeah, I lost 12 cards. Ooh. Critical. Pass. 1 life. Next turn, Vegeta. Game. See that? That's where we're at. So maybe give Thorin back. I don't know. Black just needs honestly though, Black just needs like actual good defensive cards and a counterplay. And like a busted SCR that is not that Cumber card. Like I think the Cumber card is like really great. It's not what the game needs. You know, like it might be what Meki Kabura wants. Is certainly not what Black needs in the game. Black needs a Pioneer Saiyan that like it does what like on the level of SSB Vegeta and Brutal Destruction. That's what Black needs. So that pretty much does it. Thank you so much for sitting through my magical 42 minutes, as you guys are so loyal and do all the time for watching my content. I know some of you come here for the memes, some of you come here for the laughs. I hope you got a little bit of both. Having a really, really great day. And it's been so nice to be able to make content again and have the time to, because like honestly, like you guys have no idea how much like it sat in the back of my mind. It's like, oh, I haven't made a video in this long. I haven't made a video in weeks. Like I need to get deck profiles out there. I mean, I need to talk about Zenkai. I'm so excited for the next set. Like you have no idea. I don't care. Like, you know, yeah. You know, Joey, if you think Green Goji is going to suck, I'm going to take the challenge. All right, Green Goji looks cool. It's probably going to suck, but that's not the point. Looks great. I want it. I want it in my life. Still not going to be anywhere near red, but like, I mean, like, let's face it. If your cards don't have barrier written on, I'm just kissing goodbye. That's pretty much how I feel about red. But again, just let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below of this video. Thank you so much for watching. It's Awesome TCG Discussions signing off. I will see you guys next time soon when I start talking about the next set and, you know, the colors that have been released and whatnot, what I think of these archetypes. So it's going to be great. Stay tuned for the archetype videos, and I'll see you guys soon. Laters.